Hi, everyone. My name is Melody Razmandi. I am actually a registered nurse. I work at Kaiser in Santa Teresa. I've had my license, though, since 2007. I practiced real estate back in LA. But right when I started, the market kind of dropped, and it was October of '07 when I got it. And so 2008, you guys know the housing crash. So I did a lot of short sales. And I stepped away from it, did a million things. I'm old. I've done a million things. I have a very vast background. And along the way, when I turned 40, I decided I wanted to become a nurse. So I became a nurse. I've been a nurse for 8.5 years, but some things are happening in life. Really, so far, it's been a very, a lot's been going on this year so far, but excuse me just one second. I decided to get back into real estate, and I'm excited to join the team. I know you guys are like, get up and go, and I'm going to be like, just like that soon. I just have some family stuff that came up recently, but I'm excited, and I'm excited to kind of get back into the world. I love homes. I love helping people. Obviously, I'm a nurse, so I think it just blends well, and I like the team structure here so far. So it's nice to be able to see everyone, and I guess that's it.
Let's go. Let's give it up for that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Just so you see, let me turn this camera around real quick. So we got a bunch of people in here.
Oh, nice. Hi.
Here in the office. There we go. There we go. The couch. Couch crew. Good stuff. Well, welcome, Melody. Thanks for sharing, and I'm looking forward to seeing you grow with us.
Thank you.
All right, let's keep moving on, guys. Anybody else have anything? Positive focus. What are you feeling good about this week? How has your new year been so far? Right? How are you feeling about the new year? I guess that's the question. Feeling like Bears going to the Super Bowl. There we go. Let's go.
Boo. I'm a Packers fan, so boo.
Well, whoever goes, it's going to be exciting because the Super Bowl is here in our hometown, right? So I'm just excited. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how I can get into the Super Bowl. I don't know. I don't know if I'm trying to spend $5,000, but it's like minimum $5,000 at least, 6, maybe more, right?
Yeah.
Volunteer
to work, but I might know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. So I don't know. I'm trying to pull a string here and there or something, see if I can get in the parking lot. I don't know, a parking lot or something. But it's exciting that it's going to be here, guys. It's good for our local economy. What else? How else are you guys feeling about the new year, right? It's already half of the month's gone already. Think about that. All right.
You mentioned some about like and who was actively working there, who has a like motive close to the Levi Stadium.
Yeah.
Actually, let's wait till the Super Bowl is over. I'm very busy in the business.
Yeah, right. So yeah, anybody who lives near the stadium, right, or has a business there, I mean, it's a boost right there, right? So that motel's probably going to get booked. Yeah, really booked. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, good stuff, guys. Let's kick it off into some of our weekly kind of housekeeping stuff. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. Always kind of want to show you guys where we're at. So far for the year, guys, we're coming in with 10 deals that are pending, 7 listings that are active, and 6 listings that are coming soon. We got 3 deals in contract so far for the month. So we definitely got some stuff. A lot of these deals that are pending should be closing this month. There's a few closing out this week and next week. And so it's just a matter of just keeping that momentum, right? We did a great job, I feel, over the past couple months of just kind of keeping the foot on the gas. Do you guys feel that? Right? You know, even with all the distractions and the holidays and all that stuff, I mean, I feel like we did a good job of just kind of pushing as much as we could. And so that's why we're coming into the new year with some deals that are pending, right? So I'm feeling good about that because I think that momentum is just going to carry on into this year. Looking at the inventory, right? We like to look at the inventory every week. And so as you can see from last week to this week, inventory is going up a little bit, right? So SFRs, we had 542 last week. We have 618 And so we're going to see that number continue to climb week over week as we get into the spring. And so just keep that in mind, guys, as you're talking to your clients. If there's not what they're looking for right now, there is more stuff that's coming, right? Just in the last week, we had, what was that, 60, like 80 properties come on the market, right? Just in Santa Clara County. That's not including the other counties that we serve. Townhouses and condos also has gone up, right? Almost 50 new properties on the market. Total pending and contingent, that number went down a little bit, I think, because some of those deals are closing. But now that more inventory is coming up, you're going to see more transactions going pending. And this number right here, sold last 30 days. I wouldn't put too much emphasis on this number because just the inventory is low. But I feel good about the inventory going up, right? Rates, that's the big news, right? In the market right now with the rates. How are rates looking today? Last week they went down a little bit, right?
A little bit, but they're in the sixes.
Kind of teeter-tottering?
They are in the fives, yeah.
Okay. So guys, I mean, I would be talking to everybody that we can about inventory coming up, rates being lower. That's the opportunity right now, right? People are going to start making their moves, right? If you think about it, people make decisions emotionally, right? If they read a good headline and they get confidence to go buy, but a lot of times there's bad headlines, right? So we got to be the ones delivering the good news, right? So just like we said last week, guys, and I said in Slack this past week when the rates went down, we need to now immediately go out there and tell everybody about that, right? Because we have to control the narrative. If we leave it up to the consumer to just look at what's online or what's on social media, those narratives aren't necessarily the best, right? But you guys all have like a local community, all the people who follow you guys, all the people you know, your friends and family, your past clients. It's up to us to go ahead and be the person who kind of creates that narrative about our industry, right? And so if you're not telling people like, hey guys, there's good opportunities. Hey, there's the rates. Hey, there's programs where you can buy down. Hey, we could do 100% financing. Hey, we have all these different options. If you're not saying that, I think there's a big opportunity that you're missing, right? And you can do that in many forms, right? I always tell you guys, like, put yourself on video. It doesn't have to just be video. If you're not the video person or you're uncomfortable, you can like type something up really cool and email it to somebody. You can text people in your database, in your CRM, and let people know. You can call people. If you rather just pick up the phone and call people, you can do that as well, right? But you should be doing something, right? If you're not saying anything, then the guy who is saying stuff, they're holding the attention, right? And so you got to say something, guys, is my 2 cents here. What I wanted to talk about, guys, today, we'll go over some of just kind of the announcements, but I want to spend some time just really masterminding a bit. I want to understand like what sort of conversations you're having with people right now. If there's any scenarios that you guys have ran into, right, as we've gone in, now started the new year, any obstacles, any challenges you're running into, and I want to mastermind a little bit on that. We haven't done that in a while. And so any topics, guys, that you guys can present today that I'll write them down and then we'll just attack them. What do you guys got? What's some challenges that you're running into? What's some observations? Is there anything that's happening when you're talking to your buyers and sellers that are preventing them from either moving forward, stuff like that? Shita.
When I was talking to them on phone, they are like, if the rates are falling, they'll fall further, is what everybody's hoping. So they want to wait for that time to make any decision.
Okay, so will rates fall further and wait till then, right? Okay, that's a good one. What was that?
Powell's term ends in 2 months.
Powell's term ends in 2 months. Okay.
Yeah.
What else are you running into?
Let's say finding the right home.
Finding the right home. Okay. So they're not seeing what they like out there? 50 homes. Okay. Client looked at 50 homes. Nargisa, what do you got? That's crazy.
That's a lot. That's a lot. I said to Vicky.
Picky clients, right? We all got them. Nargisa, did you have something?
When I was talking on like Zillow leads, right? They waiting for the 2008 come back again.
Waiting for 2008 to come back. So waiting for like a market crash?
Yeah, so yesterday I talked to he's like, no, I was waiting in 2020, it should have been like 50% off, and it did not happen. I'm like, yeah.
Okay. Waiting for market crash, discounts. What do you got, Jose?
Not being qualified for the amount that they're shopping around for.
Not qualified for right amount.
So now they have to wait, they say.
Richa, what do you got, Richa?
Global offer. It's like
Low,
really low.
low ball offer?
Yeah.
They want to submit a low ball offer?
I already submitted for one listing, and the hard thing was to make them aware that it's actually really, really low. So they need to come up a little bit more to have the discussions going on, negotiations going on.
Okay, these are all good ones. Let's get one more. You have one more?
Yeah,
There's
me,
plenty to talk about.
me and Mark have his lead, and like, you know, he always sends like a listing. And then I'm like, okay, you ready to go look at this home? And his question is always, what can I offer?
So wants to know, okay, so what can you offer? So price before seeing it, basically?
So set up an appointment, and he's like,
Okay. Wants to know basically the price before seeing it. Okay. Luis, what you have?
I was going to say sellers that are still not just the process of market.
Not adjusting. Okay. All right. Plenty to talk about, guys. These are some good ones. So this is going to be interactive. This is enough to talk like for an hour, right? So, but we'll, let's try to tackle these. Rates falling further. Somebody wants to wait until the rates fall further. What do you got, guys? What do you tell people? I want to know, even from some of our veterans or from some people that have dealt with these situations, when people are waiting for the market to change or chasing the market or chasing the rates, and they want to wait till then, how do you handle that situation? Go, Shri, what do you got?
So, usually I ask them why do you think that, why the rates will fall further down? Okay, I ask them I want to come from that stage, where did you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay. So then I start usually suggesting them saying that, based on the data on the history, whenever the rates fall down, we saw that property prices going up. And when I was talking, try to take out a few examples from the MLS, if you see, there is right now a property in Sunnyvale, which is listed for 1.725, and they bought it for 2.1 in 2022. Do you know what happened in 2022? So no, that's when the rates have fallen down, the property prices have fallen up, and now it's not selling because they overpaid at that time for the property.
Yeah.
It's sitting at 1.75 from last 46 days.
Yeah.
So usually whenever the rates come down, we never suggest you to buy. If you buy right now, you are getting for the lower price, and then you can refinance. Instead of going and fighting with 100 clients, that time just go and talk to the lender and refinance.
Yeah.
How soon can one refinance? If I buy a home today, can I refinance
Yeah,
it in 2 months?
Yeah, if the monthly payment is making a lot of difference, do it next month. No problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that was a
They
question.
typically want you to wait 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months because the loan can be transferred from one lender to another.
And that happens.
Like mostly 6 months.
Let me explain to you, mind if I explain?
Yeah, yeah.
real quick, Enrique? I think when you guys are looking at rebuttals, listen, I think Sri did a really good job in telling someone why the rates are down. But I think the better way of going about it is actually asking right questions in order for you to figure out where their mindset is at in the first place, right? So let me kind of break this down, right? Is probably what's good, if we're talking about interest rates, right? I would ask them straight up, hey, listen, what would you consider a great interest rate that you're waiting for? Then at that point, if they answer with their, let's say a ridiculous question or a ridiculous answer, I kind of know on a scale of 1 through 10 how serious they are, but I also know how to attack that lead.
Yeah.
So I think maybe with any rebuttal that you're dealing with, try to stay away from telling people what to do and come at it more from a curiosity point of view of where their mindset is at that point, so that you can go ahead and bring them up. The biggest, what should I say? The biggest convincer is when they can convince themselves, not that when you're convincing them of something that, of whatever their question is, right?
Yeah.
So attack every rebuttal like that first. Then the words that you say, think about that second wise.
Yeah. And I think what Rob's, I mean, what Rob's getting at, guys, these are like fundamentals of sales, right? When someone has a concern, you have to seek to understand first, right? Understand why they think that way, right? One of our sales coaches, this guy Dale, he was really good. And I remember this was like maybe 10 years ago. It was a simple concept called follow the client's logic. And that stuck with me, right? Because it just made sense. He said, if a client says this, try to understand why they're saying this and go with them down that path. Instead of it being you against them, right? Now you're head buddy. Now it's like, I'm trying to convince you why you're wrong and I'm right. That already disrupts the process, right? So a good salesperson is going to make you feel like they're on your side and they're trying to help you get what you want, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what we need to do. We need to help someone get what they want, because if not, they're not going to move forward, right? So I think before you say anything, just think, how can I put myself in their shoes and follow their logic, right? And so if someone says, hey, man, I'm waiting for the rates to fall further, I want to wait till then, like, hey, totally understand. Tell me more. Like, what do you think is going to happen, right? Where would you want to see it? Why would you want to see it go there? What does that mean for you, right? Are you more concerned about the payment? Are you more concerned about just feeling right about buying at the right time? And so when you start to ask those questions and peel the onion back, they're going to start to tell you really what the answer is, right? Because usually the answer that they put up front is really not the answer. That's like the mask, right? That's like the auto. Yeah, I want the rates to fall. Start digging. Maybe they can only afford a certain payment, right? But you won't find that if you just start telling them like theory, right? Hey, in 2022, this is what happened. This is what happened. You have to really peel the onion back and figure out why they think that way. And then when you start showing them examples at that point and start breaking the numbers down for them and play the game with them. Well, hey, I want rates to go down to 5%. Perfect. Let's map out the numbers. Let's see what the payment would look like at 5%. So on $1 million house, this is 5%. Currently, they're at 6%. This is the difference in the payments. Tell me, can you afford the 6%? Can you only afford the 5%? And so I think you're going to get a lot further if you do it that way, because now you're no longer against them. Now you're like with them, helping them figure that out, right? And that's putting your consultant hat on and your advisor hat. And then once you do that and you built rapport with them, then you can start making recommendations, right?
As professional guys, we have all the answers. There's no answer that I don't know about real estate, right? But there's a difference between me telling them the answers and then coming to the realization of the answer, right? So asking the questions, if you go down that path, sales goes out the door. You now just become a consultant at that point, right? You're now just leading the horse down the road.
Yeah. So who put that one? Right, wants to wait for rates to fall further. Wait till then. Okay. So Shital, let's role play that really quick, right? We don't have to go into too much detail, but I just want you to put your like curiosity hat on, right? So if I say, hey, Shital, you know what? I think I want to wait till the rates fall a little further. I'll probably wait till then to buy.
I totally understand. See, everybody's waiting for that day, that magic day. But let me just understand, what do you mean by rates will fall down? How much do you think it should go down?
Well, if they can get at least to like a 5% or something, then I think it'd probably be a better time.
Okay. If you're talking about 5, let me see, like if we are in 6s right now, of course it is case to case basis, but let's just take example, like the rates are 6 right now and you are waiting for 5. And if we are waiting for that $1 million house, let's do the math here. How much will it cost you if you pay the monthly payment, if you pay with a 6%, and what difference will it make if you pay it with a 5%? So I'll just put in some numbers. Hardly it's the matter of like $300 to $400 per month.
Okay.
The AMI will raise if it's a 6%. But again, if the rates really go down, then house prices will just go up. So it is for us to decide what is the right time.
Okay, stop right there. You were on the right path.
Yeah.
But then at the end, you started trying to tell me what's going to happen.
Okay.
Right? So don't, that last part, take that part out. Everything you did up until like, hey, if prices go down, if rates go down, prices are going to go up. Right? So Instead, ask me what I think will happen,
Okay.
right? Instead of you telling me, you ask me so that I come up with the answer, right? This is like where you're using like Jedi, reverse psychology stuff, right? Instead of saying, hey, if the prices go down or if the rates go down, the prices are going to go up. That's one way of saying it. The other way is, hey, Shatal, I'm just curious, what do you think would happen if the rates all of a sudden went down? Like there's a lot of people that probably are waiting for the rates to go down. So if the rates went down, what do you think will happen to the market? Do you think it would go higher or lower in price? So now I'm getting you to say the answer, right? Okay, so now try that part.
Okay. Okay, Enrique, let's say you want to pay 5% and right now it's 6%. As I just told you, it's just a matter of hardly $200 to $300 per month difference it will make. But let's say if you say rates will go down to 5, what do you think will happen to the market when rates do go to 5?
I don't really know. It'd probably be a better deal for me.
Now I'm stuck.
Okay, so this is where you got to peel the onion back more, right? I'm not trying to make it easy on you, right? Because some clients will say that, I don't know, it's probably a better deal for me, right? And so start asking me like, what ifs? Do you think it will do this or do you think it will do that? Do you think there'll be more buyers or do you think there'll be less buyers, right? So you're giving me like, pick A or B, right?
Remember, you're leading that person.
You're leading me. You're holding my hand and leading me to the answer, right? So now ask a follow-up question.
Spill the beans, right?
Exactly. Say that again. Say that phrase. That was a good phrase right there.
I should let them spill the beans.
Let them spill the beans, right? I love that. That's going to be we're going to caption that now, right? Hey guys, let the client spill the beans, not you, right? It's easy to just spill the beans. Let them spill the beans, right? Okay, so now start asking me this or that questions, right?
Okay. So what do you think will happen when the rates will go down to 5?
Give me two choices.
Okay. You think the house prices will stay the same or it will increase?
I guess, I don't know, probably increase.
Yes, you are right, because many people are waiting for the same thing. The rates should go down. And what if they come to the market, just like you, many of my clients who are waiting for rates to go down, what if all of the clients do come and they want to buy in the same market? What do you think will happen then?
Give me two options.
Okay. You think the prices will stay same and increase again? The same question.
Probably increase.
So will that be a buyer's market or seller's market in that case?
Probably a seller's market.
So you think we'll have more negotiation power when we go in the seller's
Or
market
less.
as buyer?
Yeah, there you go. You see that?
So guys, on
Love
my
that.
line of questioning, whenever I get a rebuttal, I always go down 3 levels, always go down 3 levels.
Yeah.
Right? So I acknowledge what it is. I go down 1 level by asking a question, then I ask another question, and then I ask another question. And then what I do is I tie everything up in a bow tie.
Yeah.
So what do you think? So based on what we just went down, right? What do you think is the outcome? Right now, that could be whatever, right? So peel the onion 3 times.
Yeah. So what you did, right, is you followed my logic, right? You did a perfect example of following my logic. You walked me through the thought process, right? I had this initial thought, which everyone like says, yeah, if the rates go down, that's the best time to buy, right? But a lot of people don't really understand what happens to the market if the rates go down. So then by you walking me through, do you think A or B is going to happen? Okay, well, let's say that happens. Do you think A or B will happen? Now, in my mind, I'm like, shit, she's right, right? Like, at first I thought this was good for me. Now I'm realizing with my own words, because I'm saying it, that it's probably going to be a seller's market. There's going to be more buyers. And then so then what you do at the end, now that you've gotten me to go down the logic, is you shift my focus, right? This is called a level shift, right? So what you're going to say is, hey, look at Shatal. Rather than us focusing on the rates, let's focus on what's really important, which is what can you afford today, right? So like, let's say the rates were 6 or 5. This is roughly the payment. I'm curious, what payment can you actually afford, right? What would be a comfortable payment that you can see yourself in this? Would it be this range or this range, right? Now you're getting me to tell you the answers, right? And then you can say, hey, based off of this is what's available right now. You know, would it make sense for you to buy a home now, start building some equity, and lock into a payment like this? Would that work for your situation? Right? Bring up the numbers, right? So now you walked me down like this crazy idea that I had, and you made me realize, and I spilled my own beans, right? And now I know that, hey, I was kind of, in la la land. And then now you're shifting me to focus on what's really important, right? Because what's really important at the end of the day when we buy a house, it's the monthly payment, right? Unless you're buying the house cash, you know, and that's where you also got to ask, like, hey, Enrique, do you plan to live there? Do you see yourself living there for a long time? Like, if you find the right house, do you see yourself living there for at least 5, 10 plus years? Right? Or is this something that you just quickly want to buy and then sell in a couple years? Right? Because that's the other thing too. Like, you start getting them to think long term, right? So, hey, if we can find the house that was within your budget, that you can see yourself living in the next 10 years, and you can raise your family there, right? And it fit your monthly payment, would it be worthwhile to go check those out? Can you see the advantage of looking now versus waiting and potentially, like you just told me, Chital, prices going up when it's a seller's market? And so now you got me to unravel this and like realize, like, yeah, I should just focus on what can I afford, right? That's how you get someone from waiting for the rates. But if you immediately just go like, hey, if the rates go down, prices are going up. Now it's like, I'm telling you instead of helping you figure that out, right? And so raise your hand, guys, if you're doing this with your clients all the time, or if you can improve your process, right? Can you guys raise your hand if you think, hey, like I can improve the way I'm explaining these things, right? By using these strategies, right? Because remember, guys, this takes more work, to be honest. But this is what separates the high performance salespeople and the consultants and the advisors and the ones who lead people, right? Versus, you know, the ones who don't, right? So if you want to step your game up, you have to be able to unpack it, right? Let the client spill their own beans, because whose decision is it at the end of the day? Right? So take yourself away from trying to convince them to buy and help them realize if it makes sense for them to buy or to sell, right? When you do that, you're going from like a sales guy to like a consultant. A consultant does what, guys? Advises you, asks questions. They figure out what your long-term goals are, what you're trying to do, and they give you options, right? And they show you a path to help you get what you want, right? Most of these questions, guys, that you guys wrote down can be answered by just using this strategy.
All
Right.
in my opinion, could be handled in this format, right? The only thing that you might want to add to it is going to be to take out your personal interest in the loan.
Yeah.
Or in the conversation, right? If you come at it more from like asking questions, like more of a confused state, you're going to get a lot farther with the client on that point.
Yeah. Yeah. So detaching yourself from the outcome, right? Because we can't control the outcome, guys, right? If it doesn't make sense for someone to buy or sell, isn't it our job to tell them, hey, like, hey, based off what you're telling me, I think you should wait. And that's the other thing. You got to be okay with telling people that, hey, based off the numbers and what you can afford, guys, I don't think it's there for you right now. Right? It's okay to tell people that, because people will respect you. Like, hey, I'm not the realtor that's just going to try to put you in a house that doesn't make sense. Right? But I don't think you can get what you're trying to get. But I think you can do this. I think this is another option that would make sense for your numbers or your situation. And then now they see that you're on their side. You're trying to help them, right? Okay. Powell ends in 2 months.
I mean, it's basically the same thing. We'll raise them all first.
It's the same thing, right?
Same thing.
Same question, right? So who said Powell ends in 2 months? Is that you? Okay, Brendan. So I want you to be curious now and like be curious, like not wrong. No, there's no right or wrong. You're neutral. You're curious, right? So yeah, I want to wait because Powell's going to be gone in 2 months and rates are probably going to go down. Market's going to get better.
Yeah, totally understand, wanting to wait and trying to wait for rates to go down. Just curious, what do you think would happen if rates go down in the market?
Be a better deal for me. I get a better payment, right? Lower rate.
Definitely possible. Let me ask you this. What if more buyers enter the market because the rates go down?
Do you?
Oh yeah. Do you think more buyers are going to enter the market when rates go down, or do you think that they're going to stay at home?
That's a good question. Probably more buyers. Go a step further. And when there's more buyers, what do you think?
Yeah, if there's more buyers, do you think that there would be higher prices and more competition in homes, or do you think the prices would stay stagnant or go down?
Probably go higher.
So then do you think that competing with all of those buyers during that time is better for you or better for the sellers when it comes down, when rates go down?
Yeah, probably better for the sellers.
Now tie it all up.
Yeah.
So with all of that in mind, if we find you the right house with a payment that you can afford right now, and you could maybe refinance later, do you think that might be something that you might want to go out and take a look at?
There we go.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, there'd probably be, let's go look at some homes. There you go, right? Okay, good stuff. Let's give it up. Let's give it up for Brennan, right?
I don't know why in my head when I'm doing these, I call it like the waterfall method, right? But when I'm looking at these, I look at it like I'm tying a present at the end and I'm giving it. So let me ask you this: if I were to find the perfect blah 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 blah, is this something you'd consider open doing now as opposed to later? I
Yeah,
don't know why, but it's like wrapping a present up at the end and then just giving it to them, right?
Yeah.
'Cause everything you're just using their words against them, right?
exactly. But at the end of the day, you're doing the right thing because you're helping them figure it out, right? Like you have to respect the fact that people have their own ideas about what they think is going to happen, right? Like who thinks the Bears are going to the Super Bowl? Who thinks they're not? Right? Who's to say he's right or wrong? I might be full of crap, right? He might be right, but I have to respect him for thinking that, right? And so that was just a funny example, right? But when someone thinks the rates are going to go down or the market's going to change, like I can't knock them for that, right? Who doesn't want the rates to go down and the prices to go down? Don't we all? Like if we're trying to buy, if you were trying to buy a house, wouldn't you want that? Yeah. If you were trying to sell, you want the opposite. You want prices to go up, right? And so you can't knock them for that, right? So you have to like respect their decision, but you could be curious about how they arrived there, right? And help walk them through that. Okay. Finding the right home. Looked at 50 homes. Don't want to pick anything. This one, fire them, right? So this one here. So who's the one that looked at 50 homes? That was you, right? Or your client.
Yeah, I got a Zillow lead and we looked at a home and then we jumped to like 2 other homes. And that's when they informed me they've looked at 50 homes with other agents. I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's totally normal.
Yeah.
I said it's totally normal. We'll find the right one. And if not, it'll happen.
Okay.
Look at 50 homes, nothing interests you at all.
Yeah. So be curious, right? Be curious. Like, hey, were there any homes that you guys actually were close to making an offer on and what got in the way, right? Stuff like that.
Yeah, go on like that. That's an opening door right there. Yeah, okay. So hold on. The majority of the problems are agent related, not client related. Okay.
Yeah.
So once we understand that, this is it. The reason why someone is looking at 50 homes is because they don't have clarity. And it's their job not to have clarity, but it's our job to make sure that we discover clarity. So if we're looking at 50 homes, it's because I, as an agent, have not done my job and actually sat there and actually figured out, wait, hold on. Before we go look at 51 homes, right, just take a step back and kind of figure out what exactly is it that you're looking for.
Yeah.
If this is what you're looking for, and I find you that house within the next blah, 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 is that something that you're going to be willing to take the next step? 2 things are going to happen. Yes or no is the only answer, right? If it's no, then you're going to have to make a decision if you're going to want to show them 50 the next homes. And if it makes sense, clarity comes out of it. So think of it more as clarity when you for a question like this.
Yeah. So to add to that, guys, the reason that a lot of times people look at that many homes, it's because there's a husband and wife buying together. Right?
Another thing that told me was they said that they felt pressured by previous agents to purchase that home that they just took.
Yeah.
So they didn't feel comfortable with the process.
So here's where you educate them, right? You could say, hey, Mr. Customer, man, 50 homes, that's exhausting, right? I'm sure you guys are probably a little burnt out from seeing that many homes. Don't they all start to look the same after a while? They all have gray floors and white cabinets and the marble countertop. And they're going to start laughing. Yeah, right. They're all painted white, right? With the black garage, right? Because that's what's in right now, right? And so I would tell them a story. Hey, what I usually find, the reason that people look at so many homes and they can't decide, it's usually because there's a misalignment with what they want, right? Because Mr. Husband, you may be looking at it from a financial standpoint. Wife might be wanting to find her dream kitchen, right? And so those 2 things need to align and you guys need to find something that works for both of you guys. So in my experience, Mr. Customers, we have to get really clear on what are non-negotiables for husband and what are non-negotiables for wife. And we got to make a list and we got to put those on a piece of paper and see which ones overlap. And if we can come to an agreement on what you want and what she wants, right? then we can start eliminating all these other homes that just aren't going to check the box, right? And say, you know, so it could be that you guys just haven't had time to sit down and really sort this out. And then, so I'll tell you a story, and you could even use stories, right? And you could even steal this story. This actually happened to me. I had a husband and wife, right? We looked at like 20 homes, right? And I was like, dude, this is like frustrating, right? Because the wife would text, we were in a group chat. The wife would text, want to see some certain home. The husband would then text, right? And then they're like two different homes. One's a fixer, one's fully remodeled, one had no backyard, one had a big backyard. Is because they wanted two different things. So I was getting frustrated, right? And this was also me learning at the time. And so after like 20 homes, I finally said, hey guys, we need to sit down and we need to have a strategy session. So I drew a line in the middle and I said, wife, what do you want? What are your top 4 or 5 non-negotiables? If it doesn't have this, you're not moving forward. Did the same thing for the husband. We saw like 2 more homes later and we offered and got the home 2 more homes later. The other thing to keep in mind is sometimes people are trying to figure things out as they go, right? And so it's your job to disqualify certain things, right? That's why we use the top 5 must-haves email. Anybody ever use that one, right? So if you do a good job in your consultation up front and you ask, hey, what are your top 5s? What are your non-negotiables? Hey, is there a different list for husband and wife? Let's put those all on the thing. And you get buy-in from both of them. Hey, okay, these are the top 5 that we both think, right? Okay, great. So now when you guys send me a home and it doesn't meet these top 5, do I have permission to let you guys know that this doesn't meet the list? So now I'm asking for permission to get homes off of their list, right? Because sometimes clients will go on Zillow or Redfin, hey, Enrique, look at this home. What do you think? Right? And it's my job to go, nope. You see how small that kitchen is? That's a low-bearing wall. You can't open it up. Let's not even look at that one. Great. Thanks for catching that. Take that one off the list. So when you're able to do that with your clients, now what are you doing, guys? Are you leading them? Right? But if you're just like, hey, show me the homes, I'll meet you. Let's go look at all 10 today. And you're not scrubbing the homes and narrowing them down, you're going to like spend many, many weekends. And then there's something that's called buyer fatigue. Anybody ever heard of buyer fatigue? After someone sees like 10, 15, 20 homes and they haven't found something, what's that text you usually get? The old taking a break text, right? They're pausing, right? And so there's something called buyer fatigue, right? Buyer fatigue is very real, guys. If people are every weekend seeing homes, and they still haven't found anything, then they start going, I'm going to take a break. And it's hard to bring them back from the dead after they've already taken a break and decided mentally, hey, we're just going to wait. We don't see the right home. But that could have been avoided if you would have just had that hard conversation up front, right? The other thing is called offer velocity. The quicker you can get someone to make an offer on a home, right? And start showing them what the market is doing, the more that they're going to learn and the faster that they're going to transact. So if you can go do all the scrubbing, right? Draw the line, figure out the top 5, right? Get down to that and then go show them homes and then make an offer that same weekend. You're already getting them into momentum of buying a home faster. If it takes you a month to finally get them to write an offer, that buyer fatigue sits in, right? So you guys should also be working on how can I get them pen to paper as quick as possible, right? Because then when it's that, right, then you have a different mindset. Now you're eliminating stuff. Now you're only going after the stuff that you know they're going to want, right? And so that's how you do the 50 homes thing. So let me see who has, what is their move-in timeline? Yeah, asking them their move-in timeline is important as well. Seeing where they're at in the process, right? Because if someone is just casually looking and they don't have like a deadline, that's the other thing too, where they'll start dragging their feet. Okay, so really quick, Matt, the dialogue, right? You just met me. Hey, yeah, we looked at like 50 homes. We couldn't find anything. What would you say now? Now that you know the strategy and like how to approach it.
Okay, well, would you be open to a sit down so we can strategize on what non-negotiables are for you and what some non-negotiables are for your wife?
Yeah, why should we do that? Tell me why we should do that.
This is going to save a lot of time and it's going to help you find the right home a lot sooner.
Okay. Tell me why people look at 50 homes. what you have experienced, why people look at that many homes and haven't found the right one.
They didn't feel comfortable with their agent.
Yeah, so pretend I'm the buyer. Hey, what I've found in the past is when people look at this many homes, right? It's usually because of this.
Yeah, so usually when people look at, 25 plus homes, it's typically because they're not comfortable in the process. Or maybe somebody hasn't educated them on, what the non-negotiables are for the husband and the wife.
Okay, keep going. So tell me why we should meet.
So what I recommend is that we sit down, in person. You can come to the office right over here by Bass Pro Shops, South San Jose, and we make a list of non-negotiables for you and your wife.
Okay, last thing you want to do, the last thing I want to do.
The last thing I want to do is show you 50 homes.
Basically, right? Okay. That's good. That's good. Okay, so I know I'm putting you on the spot, right? But I want to, obviously we're practicing right now, right? But I want to get you comfortable with how to elaborate that, right? Hey guys, I totally understand. Hey, look at, wow, what I found is that if someone's looking at that many homes, it's usually because of A, B, or C, right? So here's what I would like to do different. So we don't have the same experience that you had before. Try to empathize with them. Man, looking at 50 homes that sounds exhausting, right? Aren't you guys tired? You just need a water or something, right? So you got to use a little bit of your charisma too, right? But you want to point them out like, hey guys, if we looked at that many homes, there's a better way to do this, right? So let's do a little bit more work up front so that we don't repeat the same process, right? And then two things are going to happen. Either one, they're like, hey, yeah, that's different. The last guy didn't do it. Or you quickly realize if they're just not reasonable and if they're not someone that you want to work with. So by you doing this, you can also eliminate people from being your client. Because if they're like, no, we don't want to do that. Just, can you show us these 5 homes? What are you saying in your mind? Like 51, 52, 54, 55, right? So remember, like, we don't want to make the same mistake, right? So if you already know they have this whole history, we don't want to repeat the same mistake. So to me, I'm looking at it as a filter as well, to filter out, is this a client that I want to take on? Because if the client's not willing to sit down, not willing to hash out what the non-negotiables are and all that good stuff, what's that experience going to be like going forward? Yeah, you're going to be showing the next 50 homes. You're going to be stressed, right? Get a couple more gray hairs, stuff like that. It's not going to be worth it, right? Richa, question?
No, I have a suggestion asking about the pre-approval and proof of funds will also identify how serious they are, because generally the pre-approval letter gets them for like 3 months or so. So why it gets to the why again if they are in rush or they are just looky.
So pre-approval is important, right? But it's not as important as figuring out like what their expectations are first. Because the pre-approval is just like a process, right? Like they can jump on the line with Steve or David and they can get pre-approved and he can be like, yeah, they're approved up to 800,000. That's the easy part, I think, right? It's because that's going to be either a yes or a no, right? Hey, looked at their stuff, yes or no, or this is what we got to do. And so I wouldn't recommend like focusing on that pre-approval immediately. That should be like step number 2. I would focus on having a conversation with them and really understanding where their head's at. Right? Especially like in this scenario where it's the 50 home guy, right? Right? I don't care about pre-approval at that point. I'm trying to figure out, okay, is this someone I want to work with? What happened? What went wrong? Are you and your wife on the same page? What was the reason? Did you guys get close? What happened? Right? Was there ever a property you submitted an offer on? Because after 50 homes, now if they submitted 10 different offers and they just got beat out every single time, that's a different problem, right? But if they're like, yeah, we looked at 50, no, we didn't submit any offers. Then I'm thinking, okay, why? So now I want to be curious. Hey, I'm curious. Like that sounds like a lot of homes. Like what happened? Right? And don't stay surface. Like ask like follow-up questions. Peel the onion back, right? And then at the end, if you're like, all right, we got to get your pre-approval updated or we got to get you to talk to the lender, that's the next step. So I would do it in that order, Richa, in this particular scenario. Right.
Yeah, remember that home buying is, in my opinion, an emotional buy, and then it becomes a logical buy. Right.
Yeah.
So I think I think that there's a reason why Zillow wants us to go look at homes and schedule the appointment like right off the bat. Is because if I can get them on the hamster wheel, then it's my job to start figuring out how to logically get them in the house. And that's where a guy like Steve or David comes into the mix.
Yeah.
Right? They cement everything. But if you start backwards, well, you're going to have an uphill battle, right? Because they're going to look at the numbers and they have to convince themselves that way. No. Always start from the emotional side of things.
Yeah. So let's play that out, right? Let's say like you started pre-approval first. All right, they're approved for 1.5, but you still haven't sat down and done like a proper consultation to see what they want. Is it realistic? Can the 1.5, does that get them what they want in the neighborhood that they want, right? What if they're like Sunnyvale and then they're only approved for 1.5? Then it really didn't matter at that point, right? And so that's why going over the non-negotiables and all that stuff, you guys know the market. You know, like if they're like, yeah, our budget's $1 million and we're trying to be in Blossom Valley in a 4-bedroom bath, 2-bath, you're like, that's probably not going to happen. So you can immediately cut it off there, right? And so that's why I think having that proper consultation is important in addition to the pre-approval, right? Okay.
I mean, the biggest thing is you gotta connect with your people.
Yeah.
If you're showing them, let's say if you get a Zillow lead and you take a client and meet them at a property, your first objective is to figure out who they are, why they're out here, why they're buying. You want to build that relationship. That's your moment to build. And then take them to the next level.
Yeah.
But if you're not building a relationship, you're just going and showing them the property, opening the doors and saying, oh, what do you think? Well, guess what? They'll just move on to the next person.
Yeah. Right. We can't be so transactional. Hey, I showed you this home. All right, let's get you pre-approved now. All right, let's write the offer now, right? Like that's really transactional. All that has to happen, but we got to do it in a way where they feel like, man, this person's really guiding me. I'm really connected with this person. Well, I think they seem like they're really interested in what's important to me, right? And that's where the rapport and the trust and all that stuff, that's the important part of it.
Yeah, going in a home, I mean, you gotta understand, this is not buying a car. This is a big event.
Yeah.
So this is, the family's there, everyone's there. You want to be a part of that event. So when you're showing them the home, you should be seeing them light up if they like the kitchen or they don't like the bedroom because the closet was too small. You guys should know that.
Yeah.
If you're not seeing that, you're not connecting with the client.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why it's so important. The first time you meet with a client, don't just open the door and let them go see it. Be part of it.
Yeah.
Be engaged with it. Show them you value their opinion.
Yeah.
Because that's how you're going to be able to find the next home for them. Because if that home doesn't work, guess what? You just know why it doesn't work. Now go find the right one.
Yeah. There's something called a trust building showing, right? That first home, like if you get a Zillow lead, for example, right? They usually inquire on a property. What are the chances, those of you guys that have closed Zillow leads, what % of the clients are buying that first home that you showed them?
0.
Has anybody ever you meet them, you show them that home? I think maybe John, 1%, right? It's a 1%, right? Sometimes we get lucky or whatever, right? Right place, right time, right person, right? But there's usually a 1% chance, which is very minimal, that they're going to buy that first home that they clicked on and that you met them at, right? So if we already know that, so then what should be our objective on that first showing? We'll say it. Get them to like you, right? How do you get someone to like you?
Get them talking.
Build trust. Get them to like you.
But no, how do you get them to like you? Somebody said it.
How do you get someone to like you?
You get them talking. Ask them questions. Get them talking. Figure out what they want.
Okay, so you know why therapists are so popular?
Yes.
Because they just ask questions and shut up and listen, right? Because everybody wants like someone to like bounce their ideas off, right? They want to speak, they want to vent and stuff like that, right? That's why therapy is powerful. So you got to be kind of like that therapist, right? The agent, the therapist, where you ask the questions and you let them talk, right? And you listen and you ask more questions and you give your opinion or you laugh with them, right? Or you reassure like, hey, they're on the right path. And that builds connection. That builds trust. You find the common ground, right? Where are you guys from, right? What got you out here? And then at the end of that appointment, even though that first house was a throwaway house, they're like, man, like John's a cool guy. Like I could see myself looking at more homes with this guy, right? Which John, if anybody's ever had a conversation with John, is John likable? John's like, I don't know. No, every time I've talked to John, it's always like cool, chill, we're joking, he's cracking a joke or something, right? Like he's an easy guy to get along with, right? Right? And he knows his stuff. So imagine you know your stuff and you're a cool person to hang out with, or you're easy to get along with, or you're easy to talk to. That's the winning formula, right? Some of us know our stuff, but we're not the easiest person to talk to. Some of us, we're easy to talk to, but we don't know our stuff yet, right? We're still learning. That's cool too, right? You'll get there.
So I'm the second guy.
You're the second guy?
I know my shit, but I'm not the most personable guy.
Okay.
My clients, right? So I know that, right? So how do I get around this? I get around this by asking some very surface level questions that you can just Google online and figure out. Hey, what brings you out to this house? So you can make yourself likable,
yeah,
right? You can make yourself likable. It's just the amount of questions that you ask, right? So I ask these basic surface level questions to kind of get me in the door, because I know that I'm very forthcoming. I know that I'm forward, right?
Yeah.
So those questions pause me a little bit and still give me the impression that I do care.
Yeah.
You've been doing it as long as I have, you start to slip on that kind of stuff, right? So you have to start figuring out how to care more.
Yeah.
But I like it.
But by the end of the transaction, guys, because I've worked with Rob for many years, right? The clients love him, right? And so what Rob is saying is his natural tendency is not to just be like the most likable guy until you get to know him, right? But he does ask these questions. He starts asking, because we've been on listing appointments. He's like, oh, that painting, where's that painting from? Right? I've seen him do that, right? Or he'll take interest in like the old crappy tile that they have, right? So not that nice, but he's asking questions about the tile, right? And gets them talking, even though I'm like, oh, you gotta change that, right? So guys, there is technique into building rapport with people, right? But back to what I was saying is that first home is probably going to be a throwaway, right? But don't make it a throwaway. Make it the home where you really hit it off with the client. And then at the end, you make a recommendation. Hey guys, it's great meeting you guys. It sounds like this is probably not the home for you, right? But I would love to work with you guys and help you find the right one. If I took some notes here, it sounds like these are the things that are important to you. A, B, C, right? Non-negotiable for the wife, right? Needs a big closet, stuff like that. Like you're listening, right? Why don't we set up a time, right, to do a consult? We'll iron out some of these details and let's go look at some other properties. Now that I know what you're looking for, I can pull up the ones that are going to match your guys' needs. You guys free tomorrow? You guys free next Saturday? You see how now I went out there and like I turned this home that I knew they weren't going to like. And now at the end, it's leading me to the next thing, right? That's what you got to do with these. Okay, we're going off on some tangents, but let's see. One more. Waiting for the market to crash. We kind of already talked about that, right? Those are all the same answers, right? Waiting for the market to crash. What do you think is going to happen? Stuff like that. Not qualified for the right amount. That's a lender question, guys. Not qualified for the right amount, right? If someone is not qualified for the right amount, or they have, what did Reza used to say? Champagne budget or champagne taste, beer budget, right? That was an old saying.
How would you play that? Because there is a right way of answering that question. Not qualified for the right amount. Using the methods that we teach. How would that go?
Well, you're going to find out, like, there's a certain way you're going to find out that they're not qualified for the right amount, right? Like they tell you, hey, I'm pre-approved for 250 and they're sending you $1 million homes, right? There's a disconnect there, right? So that's where I'm going to want to set a consultation, right? I'm always going to say, hey guys, before we go out and look, it sounds like you have a budget that's, it's a little tight, right? So I want to see if there's any ways that we can open that budget up so you guys could get what you want, right? I think it'd be a great exercise for, you guys to get a second opinion from my lender. They have some creative programs that they could do right now. Doesn't hurt. Let's see what we're working with, right? Do you have some time for a consultation or for a Zoom or whatever? But that, to me, that's a lender question. You just got to guide them into like, hey, let's not go look at homes yet until we at least look at this. In that situation, that's where I would go like pre-approval first. If you just already know, like it's just not out there, right? What they're looking for.
So what are the answered to not qualify for the right amount? Does anyone know?
I mean, there's multiple factors, right? Credit score, down payment.
No, let's just say, right, the right amount. So we're talking strictly purchase price.
Yeah.
Other option.
What are the other options?
Well, if you're looking at $1 million home, you look at condos, townhomes.
Yeah.
We look at something smaller.
Something smaller, other types of properties, other areas, right?
Maybe even manufactured, although I've been advised not.
No, well, if that's their budget.
Yeah,
right?
if that's what's right for them,
The other
right?
thing is that as part of a lender, we can get non-occupant borrowers.
Co-borrowers, yeah, that's a good
So
point.
That's another option. So there's so many different ways of how to increase their buying power
Yeah,
without actually having someone else live in that house.
yeah, because sometimes someone's not qualified for a right amount, doesn't mean they can't afford it. Maybe they're self-employed and like they don't report a lot of their income, but they're making a lot of cash. So they can afford a big, more expensive home, but on paper, they're not qualified, right? So that's why like you have to really peel that onion back. The lender is going to be able to ask all those questions. So I would do that first instead of saying, okay, your budget's 350. Let's go show you that one condo that's a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, the only one in the whole entire state that's available for 350. I wouldn't do that first. I would first say, hey, let's really understand the numbers first and what we're working with.
Your
Right.
job as an agent is to open up curiosity. I would not answer that question, right? I mean, in specific actual terms, right? What I would do is say, hey, listen, guys, open up the curiosity loop. Hey, guys, what happens if we can qualify for more? What if there was other ways that we can do that? You know what? That's a great question. Let me go ahead and point you in the right direction so you have the right answer, or that you can get the right answer for, right? Point them in that direction. But your job as the agent is to lead them, open up that curiosity bubble so you can at least be open. It's like planting the seed and let that tree grow. So
Yep.
let him answer the details of it.
Jose, what you got?
Yeah, so it's a real life scenario. So it's my example. I got the pushback Zillow lead. We got them with Zillow Flex, the lending department, and then we got them with somebody from Alliance. They ghosted me for the holidays. I followed back, and that's the objection I got. I'm waiting for a promotion, maybe get a raise, and we're not qualified for the amount that we thought we would need to live in a specific city. So they're holding off a couple of months.
Okay. So I would ask more questions, right? I think, was that a text message or a phone call?
Phone call.
Okay. So that's your chance to peel the onion back. Oh, okay. Totally understand. Maybe don't make them wrong, right? Like we talked earlier, don't make them wrong. Be curious. Totally understand. Sorry to hear that, but it looks like, maybe in the future you're going to get promoted. I'm just curious, tell me a little bit more. What are you looking for? What would make sense for you guys? Was there a specific payment in mind? So this is where I want to find out more details about the circumstance and see if there's a recommendation that I can make. But if you just take it at surface level and you're like, okay, no problem, I'll follow up with you in a couple months. Someone like me is going to call them and I'm going to peel the onion back and I'm going to dig and I'm going to find an opening. And then next thing you know, they're talking to Steve and now I got them pre-approved, right? So you have to be okay with asking questions, right? It's the way that you ask them, right? If you ask them friendly, nice, curious, come from a curious standpoint, then they're not going to be like, well, why are you asking me so many questions, right? So it's also the delivery is important as well. But I think, and it has to be on a call. Like that's not like a text message or an email type of thing. Hey, do you guys have a quick, 5 minutes to chat? Can I call you, for 5 minutes or whatever, so I can quickly understand kind of what's going on and, make the appropriate recommendation. So that's what I would do. I would get back on the phone and find out as many details as possible. And then if you see an opening, then say, hey, why don't you talk to so-and-so? Or is there a different way we can structure this, right? Or, hey, would it make sense for you to talk to our lender and see if there's a way they can restructure the way the loan is set up so that you can get in sooner than later, right? Sometimes that makes a difference.
I give a live example. What happened today? I think you're on that lead, right? I just got a client that said no to me, right? I said, morning, Emily. I completely respect that. Numbers would have to make sense. If I may ask, what would be the perfect scenario? What would the perfect scenario look like for both to consider the next step, whenever the time may be, right? So even things like that is someone said no, but I want to know exactly what has to happen in order for them to consider the next step. I need to know that as a salesman.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's gonna help me with follow-up. That's gonna help me with everything else moving forward. And clarity is key.
Yeah. If you don't know what's going on, then how can you properly recommend? How can you be a proper advisor or consultant if you don't know exactly what's going on or why they're feeling that way or why they decided, right? Okay, last one, guys. I know we're coming up on time. Sellers not adjusting. Who said that one? Luis?
Yeah.
So what was it? Sellers don't want to adjust the price? Or tell me about that.
I guess since I call a lot of expireds, I still come across a lot of sellers who just don't want to put it back on the market because they're looking for a specific number that they're not going to get in this current market.
Okay. So yeah, with that one, guys, if you're calling expires, I mean, that's going to be the nature, right? So number one, we got to understand if you're calling expireds, that's the nature of calling expireds already, right? They might have already had a certain experience on the market. I think what you got to focus on is why they're selling in the first place, right? Because if you focus only on price, you're going to lose that game.
Never about price.
Right? So I would shift their focus to, hey, what made you guys want to make a move in the first place? What's taking you there? You guys need to sell this home to buy the next one, right? So I would peel the onion back more and always talk about, hey, if there's a way that we can make A, B, and C happen to get you to wherever you're trying to go, is that something you want to talk about again? Would you like to see that? Right? But I think it's a little hard when you're calling expires. If you don't know enough information, it's hard to make a recommendation. So your goal is to get more info from them, right? Because if just like, yeah, I had it on the market, didn't get the price I want, so I took it off. No, I'm not putting it back on. Hey, totally understand. A lot of people did, right? Hey, we've had many clients where, they put it on the market before, they didn't get what they wanted. We readjusted the strategy and now we're able to get them to their next destination. I'm curious, why were you guys selling in the first place? Right? Where were you guys going? What takes you there? Tell me a little bit more about that. Are you guys buying over there? Do you need to sell this one first? What'd you guys run into? What were some of the obstacles you ran into? And then start painting like a hypothetical. Hey, it sounds like it still makes sense for you to sell. It's just the numbers have to make sense and you have to be able to get the results that you need. If there was a way that we can readjust this thing, put a different strategy, right? All that good stuff. Now the market's a little bit different. We're entering the springtime and we can figure out a way to get you from San Jose to retire in Lathrop or whatever. Would you guys at least want to revisit and see what that looks like today? But notice how I didn't say anything about price, right?
If buyers are emotional, sellers are logical. Okay. And what I would do on that one there is don't when you're jumping on these seller leads, don't talk about listing their house or you being the agent to list their house. What I would focus on is how do I get the next step?
Yeah.
And in order for you to have any sort of on a listing, your goal is not to be their agent. Your goal is to get in front of them so that you can make your presentation. And then at that point, you kill it to the point where they have enough confidence to take the next step, right? So don't fight that battle, fight the next step battle. Say, hey, listen, Mr. Customer, I don't know if the numbers make sense at this point, but what I'd like to do is I'd like to figure that out together. You know what, why don't I do this? Why don't we go ahead and spend about 10, 15 minutes? I'll shoot over to your place tomorrow. I'll take a look at it. And while I'm there, I'll present you with my findings. And then at that point, once you have all the facts, then you can make the decision if I'm the right agent for you or not.
Yeah.
Fair enough? That's the Brandon way. It's the Brandon way, right? Yeah. So just focus on getting to the next step. Don't focus on numbers, because if they're talking about numbers, that is a conversation that should be done during a consultation, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to get a lot more farther I call it playing dumb, right? If you play the dumb role, I don't know, Mr. Customer, but I'm willing to give it a try. Let's figure it out. Let's figure it out together.
Yeah.
But when you're at the table negotiating the numbers and the numbers don't make sense to you, you have the control of saying, you know what, I don't want to take this listing, right? So try to figure out how to get yourself in front of the table first to have that consultation. We're able to kind of spill everything out at that point. Don't forget about listing it. Forget about anything else. Your main objection, just get it from them. That's a seller.
Yeah, because if you were a seller and you had all these grand plans to sell and move and your home didn't sell, wouldn't you want to know why it didn't sell? Yeah. Wouldn't you want to know if there was maybe a different strategy, right? And so when you paint that, hey, look at what I'll do when I come out is I'll be really honest with you. I'll take a look. Maybe some other agents aren't really telling you like it is. Is it okay if I'm honest with you when I come out there? And what I'll do is I'll take a look at your property and I'll be really honest on what I think you could do differently to help get you to make this move to wherever you're going, right? At the same time, now that I know what your property looks like, we have a team, we have a bunch of buyers we work with. Now I know, what your house looks like. I can present it to the people that we have, right? So can I stop by for 10 or 15 minutes? Now, don't make the mistake of just going there. So let's say they let you there, and then now you're just trying to close them on selling their home. That's the big mistake. Go there and actually do what you said you were going to do, right? So it's a two-step process. You go there, you preview the home, you give them some feedback. You say, hey, can I snap a couple photos or whatever that might be? And then you ask permission, right, to have a listing appointment. After you build some rapport, after you've given them some value, then you say, hey, look, I really think I can help you out. I didn't come prepared with all this info, but would it be okay for us to set another time where I can come back out here and actually tell you what I would do and show you what I think your home could sell for? So now now you got your foot in the door. You gave them some value. They got some good info from you. Now, like, their guard is dropped, and now you're going to try to set the follow-up appointment. And if they say no, well, now at least you're in their good graces, right? So now you can continue to follow up. If they say yes, great. All right.
Yeah, sales becomes easier when you take many little steps, not big steps, right? So every process, break it down into little steps of just getting to the next step, focus on that, do a great job, focus on the next step. And eventually many steps would get you to the same results at the end of the day, right? Which is what, signing a contract, doing whatever it is. But break everything up smaller. Forget about the big picture. Eat the elephant one bite at a time.
There you go. All right, guys, we're wrapping up. I appreciate your guys' patience. Just a reminder. So one thing before we end, I do need an RSVP for whoever's going to make it out to our event next Friday. It's already next Friday, our kickoff event. I sent a link right before the meeting in Slack. If you guys can all go in Slack and click it. If you're going to be there or not, I just still want to know so I can get a head count. And so you'll click the link, and all you got to do is just fill out, put your name, will you attend, yes or no, and are you bringing a +1, a guest? Yes, no, or not applicable, because we're trying to finalize food and drinks and all that stuff that we're going to have. So if you guys can all take a minute to do that. So far, I only have, I have like 4 people who've responded. Let's see. The other thing, guys, is we're going to be doing one-on-ones with a lot. Jason's already been doing one-on-ones with some of you guys. I'm going to be doing one-on-ones with a lot of our tier 2 and tier 3. So if you guys see a text message from us, please book a time for us to do a one-on-one. Our goal is just to have everybody locked in for the year, right? So whatever your goals are for this year, how many deals you want to close, stuff like that. We want to just understand what your goals are, what your strategy is, mastermind, see if there's a way that we can support you on that. If there's a way we can push more opportunity to you guys, whether you want to do more listings, more buyers, or just more deals in general, right? Or expand your knowledge or your leadership and stuff like that. It's important that we meet, because the beginning of the year is a good time for us to just lock in. So now we're hitting it hard with the strategy, right? So if you guys get a text from me or Jason, please book a time with us, and we're trying to knock these out over the next 2 weeks or so. Just a quick one-on-one with everybody. Yes.
I came up with this situation too many times recently. People are losing jobs, especially the tech people, single learner. So they are backing out from whatever search or home search that they were about to, they were trying to enter the market in January.
Okay.
They are backing out. So how to handle this situation as well?
Just follow up. Yeah. If someone loses their job, right? That's a tough time, right?
Not lose it. They think they will lose it.
Oh, they think they will lose their job. Okay. Yeah. I mean, if someone thinks they're going to lose their job and they're just uncertain financially, then we want to be empathetic, right? Hey, I totally understand. Like, when will you know more? Right? Why don't we follow up then? Because if you immediately go, well, hey, what if I can find you a good deal right now? And you still want, right? Then so that might just be a nurture.
There's a powerful question that I use, guys, in regards to that when I market, is that I'm telling people, hey, listen, I'll call you back in 3 months, right? That's me telling them, right? Ask them directly. Hey, listen, I want to make sure that when the time is ready that I'm there to help you out. So let me ask you this. How would you like for me to follow up with you, right? So ask these more direct questions. Trust me, you'll get the answer that you're looking for.
Yeah.
and then just play off of that, off of the response of that.
Yeah, that's good. How would you like me to follow up with you, right? Hey, do you want me to continue to send you properties? Do you want me to call you, in a month? Do you want me to text you? What's the best way, right? So getting permission, right, is good, especially in those situations. If they're going through a financial situation, then you want to be empathetic. All right, guys, I know we went over a lot. Guys, we went a little bit over. I hope you guys got some value today. Remember, what was the saying you said today? I want everyone to remember that. Let the client, how'd you say it? Spill the beans, right? Let them spill their own beans. By you asking questions, let them say it. Let them figure it out, right? That's the big takeaway today, right? It's not just you talking the whole time. It's you walking them through the process, you understanding their logic, you being side by side with them and helping them get to the finish line and not making it me versus you, right? Don't make them wrong. Ask the questions. Hey, do you think A or B is going to happen or C, right? Let them spill their own beans. I love that. I'm going to make a video about that today. All right, guys. Thank you. Let's give it up. Let's go.